Welcome into the Daily Pantheon reading at Soulfire Tarot. We're bringing myth and intuition together for growth, healing, divine guidance today. And I want to invite you, if this reading resonates with you at all, and you'd like Spirit to tune in more with your frequency, to drop a like on this video and actually go ahead and subscribe to the channel. These channeled messages are first and foremost going to be pulling in the energies of the folks who are subscribed. So it gives Spirit something to kind of hang on to. All right, so as we get into today and our Pantheon deck that we're playing with, let's take a breath. Just check in with our intuition. And so this is an interesting one. When I was originally shuffling, two cards immediately jumped out as I was just starting to shuffle, which was the Emperor and the King of Pentacles. And I said, hey, actually, I just checked in with my guides and said, I'd really like to be getting one card on this. The point of this type of reading is I'm learning this deck and playing with it and channeling at the same time. And it's a lot to be learning two cards and two myths all at once. When I'm diving deeper, I'm kind of doing analysis on these. So anyways, today's card is Strength, Hercules, and the Nemean Lion, but keeping in mind that there is that energy of the Emperor, of the King of Coins or King of Pentacles underneath. So there's a lot of masculine ruler of my domain of physical reality energy. And when it comes down to the story of Hercules, Hercules was the son of Zeus, born with a mortal. And, all these different stories that we've heard about it, the bigger part of Hercules' story is the 12 labors that he had to undertake. He ended up doing something horrible in a frenzy of madness. He actually killed his own wife and children at one point. And it was a madness that came from one of the gods, supposedly. And in the process of this, when he was no longer mad, when he was in his right mind again, he was overcome with horror. Of course he was. And he wanted to be purified. So he goes to the oracle at Delphi, which is a gorgeous, amazing place. He goes to the oracle at Delphi and he is told to serve a king for 12 years, completing any impossible tasks that were set, the 12 labors. And when we look through the themes of this myth, the 12 labors are really about accomplishing mastery of myself, accomplishing my tendency toward brute force, accomplishing restraint, accomplishing focus and creativity, mastering my own tendency toward chaos, like these types of things. So we're looking at this major energy of self-mastery in all forms. And with the Nemean lion, in this case, the story was that Hercules, no one could defeat this lion through brute force. It actually took perseverance and endurance to overcome this particular task. So we see that these labors, and the labors for Hercules, and of course we're talking about the labors for ourselves, the things that we're struggling with, the tasks that maybe we don't want to complete that are requiring more perseverance than we would like. This is really an initiation into ourselves. It's an initiation into connection with our divine energy, connection with my highest flow, my highest sort of outcome for myself and for my spirit's curriculum. It is initiatory to say, I am willing to discipline myself. So to disciple myself to this task, to say this task matters so much to me. My character, the way I show up in the world matters so much to me that I am going to disciple to put myself sort of at the mercy of this task and give up the struggle of trying to make it easier than it is. Allow myself to actually embrace that part of the point, a big part of the point of our struggles is that they're hard, is to be in that. That flew off on the floor. I'm going to get the others first and then I'll lean down and grab it. And I can't even see what it is. Number 2 and one more, please. One more card. So again, I got distracted, but we're seeing here this, it's not just about power. It's about redemption. It's about redemption. Here's this beautiful Empress energy, 4 of Swords. And I'm just lady going, diving way under the table. Okay. Here we go. So death, rebirth. We've been in big, And I'm guessing it's with the veil shifting, both the energy of this year of the Yinwood snake, and then as we're getting close to Halloween, to Samhain, to this shifting of the energies and the thinning of the veil, we've been having so much death rebirth. I think it's come out over and over again. It's just been very interesting. I did a whole series of channeled readings over the weekend for folks, and similarly, death rebirth, just over and over. I thought it's just really interesting. And that was a different deck. But so here we are. We're starting with this energy of transformation. And similarly with Hercules, in order to transform, we have to die to ourselves many, many times to become the person that we have the capacity of becoming. It's not a one and done process, right? We have to allow ourselves to release, to let go of the components that don't work. So there is this aspect here of dying to these components. The completing of the task, the completing of the quest is the thing that makes you the person capable of doing it. We're not that person when we start, and we have to shed and shed and shed, just like in those 12 labors. We have to let go of our weaknesses. We have to let go of our stories and our excuses and all of these other things in order to become the purified, highest embodiment of who we came here to become in this lifetime. And so we see that here with this death rebirth. And with the Four of Swords, it's just saying it's okay to take a little pause in this process. It is cruelty. You can see here, she's all muddy. She's been working really hard. And she's just up in this giant eagle's nest, I would say, with a heart just taking a break. And so we see here this, pardon me, this energy of, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of work to do this. It's a lot to transform. It is a lot to do the inner work and allow yourself to be in the discomfort and the challenge of all of that. And it's okay that you need some rest. It's okay to take breaks here and there. It's okay just to acknowledge that it consumes a ton of energy. And particularly as we look at this idea of endurance doesn't come from pushing without cessation, right? Even when we look at Hercules in the 12 labors, it was one labor per year. He wasn't out there doing an impossible task every single day, okay? It was one labor per year. So looking at this, how can we find here, where are the pauses for you? Where are the pauses as we look at this transformation? The times, there's times where you're actively cycling, you're actively mastering yourself, discipling yourself to your goals, to your spirit curriculum, allowing the transformation, the shedding, and the being born anew. And then also, there has to be a rest cycle. In nature, winter, the water element is our rest cycle. We're in metal right now. We're in that releasing and clarifying energy of fall. But as winter comes, that is our natural rest cycle brought into every year. And out of that water, out of that rest cycle, out of that allowing transformation, rest, comes the Empress. This is abundance in its purest form. We have the moon, we have the sun behind her implied, we have the earth. The Empress has so much to do with the fertility of my spirit, with my connection to the divine in the way that I'm able to receive what I've been manifesting. That it's not always got to be difficult. It doesn't always have to be a fight. We can actually be wildly in love with our big, juicy life and inviting what we're looking for, inviting this accomplishment that we're trying to achieve into my world, the way that I'm inviting my spirit to shift and change, myself to grow, my defense mechanisms to shed, to allow me to actually be purely in the moment. When we're being our most realized selves, we're not carrying stories of tomorrow. We're not anchored or tethered to our experiences of the past. We are in flow with this present moment. And so where is the opportunity to allow and invite this abundance and fertility and trust? Look at how peaceful she is. She is in absolute trust that she is a divine, radiant being, and it is safe to be so, and that all this abundance comes to her directly. All right, and so here we go for our Moonology card to round this off with a final message from the universe, and this is attuned to the divine. And I want to say we just had this. So we've been getting, again, repeat, on all of the readings. So this is just this larger thread of energy that we're in right now. This is affecting all of us. So this opportunity, as we're looking at, what could be very mundane tasks, this might have to do with just work. This could have to do with, things in your home environment, or this could entirely be about mastery of the self and the different tasks, the impossible labors that we all go through in order to overcome our own personal devils, our own personal demons, the things that we came here to learn and to master. First step is identifying it. If you don't know what the task is, how are you going to master it? How are you going to complete it? So this is that opportunity for shadow work, an invitation into shadow work in the parts of ourselves that are maybe ruling us a little bit unconsciously, and then allowing ourselves to go through that process and attuning to the divine, trusting the divine. There's a reason for this. There's a reason. And I don't say just a reason, but there's a connection. So when we say reason, we want to think, oh, there's this big story where everything like makes perfect sense. But what I really mean is that we're here with energetic resonance in our spirits. We chose to incarnate in a particular way to resonate and to harmonize and to magnetize toward particular types of energy. And those are similarly magnetized toward us. So as we look at that, attune into the divine, into this larger energetic wave, the shifts and the currents around you as you look at these patterns in yourself. Are you trying to swim upstream? Or is there a way that you could catch the current that's around you and allow that to support you in finding ease and grace in what you're looking to accomplish in this laboring, this strength, this perseverance, and self-mastery that is the goal? All right, loves, I hope this has been helpful for you. Please, again, if you enjoy this and you want Spirit to attune in more with you, drop a like on this video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. These are general readings, but of course, Spirit is tuning in first as I'm channeling with the folks who are subscribed. I hope this has been helpful again. Love you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.